Everyone, this is Frank DeMora from the Last Chronicles of Planet Earth. If you go to my website, which is demoraministry.com, you spell Demora as you see there, D-I-M-O-R-A, you will be able to go to my website. You'll see the cover of the front cover and the back cover of my book, and below that, when you scroll down after this video, you'll see the news reports that I'm covering today. I'd like to get right into what's happening in July 11th, 2010. The prophecy by Jesus in Matthew 24, verse 12, says, "Because lawlessness is increased, most people's love will grow cold." There's been an increase in crimes. Most of you know that the terrorist organizations have been striking in Iraq, Afghanistan, and as you see today, after the World Cup, where there wasn't any incidences at all, the Islamic groups struck again, the terrorist groups struck again, several bombs that went off in Uganda. And it killed, according to the article that you're going to read below, 64 people were wounded and many people were killed. Now, as people are traveling through different parts of the world and they see this violence, people get hesitant about traveling to places, for example, like Mexico. Mexico's their crime rate is almost in a war condition. As a matter of fact, there's more people who have been dying in Mexico over the drug wars and the cartels that's happening down there than in the Iraqi war. And so the violence is actually causing people to regress because of the iniquity. People's hearts are growing cold. They don't trust people. And this is exactly what Jesus Christ said was going to happen in the last days. And as the closer we get to the tribulation period, which is that 7-year tribulation period, that's when the coldness, the heart's waxing cold, is going to escalate or reach its max, because that will be at the time where chaos would be running abound in the world. But you don't have to be there if you accept Christ as your Savior, because He's going to take you out if you do. But you do have to look forward to being cast into the tribulation if you don't receive Jesus as your Savior. Now, under the guidelines of increased knowledge, as it says in Daniel 12:4, in the last generation, that generation was going to increase in knowledge and travel back and forth. And I'd like to show you, when you scroll down, you're going to see a picture of a stealth bomber. This is unmanned, a new unmanned stealth bomber. And it says, looming ominously like a spaceship from the stars. This is the future of the unmanned flight. Defense firm BAE Systems today officially unveiled its first ever high-tech unmanned stealth jet. The Tyrannus, named after a Celtic god of thunder, is about the size of a Hawk jet and equipped with stealth equipment and an autonomous artificial intelligence system. Now, no other generation could have produced, first of all, an unmanned plane, and an unmanned plane that could bomb another continent. This is what the article is telling us. It could have never happened, but it can happen now because of the invention of the computers. And since our generation has gotten their hands on the computers, the knowledge has just accelerated like never before. This is what God showed Daniel in the last days. Now, when you go to my site and you actually scroll down, you will click to that article and you'll see a picture of the stealth bomber as it appears in the news, which is, it's pretty cool looking. But here's the point. These things are happening all at the same time. And this is the key, because Jesus said in Matthew 24 that when you shall see all these things, know that it's near, even at the door. So these inventions that we're seeing is a product of the last days, and it could only happen in our generation. Now, also, when you scroll down, you'll see Daniel's chapter 2 and 7, where I show the decrease of the power in America. And America has to decrease in power, because when you read Daniel 2 and Daniel chapter 7, you'll see no place at all in those chapters, as a matter of fact, in any part of the book of Daniel, America is not mentioned at all as a last days world empire or any kind of power. There's no mention of America in the book of Daniel at all. And this shows us that America is something's going to happen, bring her down, so that she's not even going to be playing a significant role during the last days. And we know now, living in the generation that God showed Daniel, because our knowledge is being increased, and we're here, we're seeing it happen. So we are actually seeing the events that are taking America down. And as you know, the economy is one of those major events taking it down. And according to the article, it says the heads of President Barack Obama's National Debt Commission painted a gloomy picture Sunday as the United States struggles to get its spending under control. Republican Alan Simpson and Democrat Erskine Bowers told in a meeting of the National Governors Association that everything needs to be considered, including curtailing popular tax breaks such as the home mortgage deduction and instituting a financial trigger mechanism for gaining Medicare coverage. The nation's total federal debt next year is expected to exceed $14 trillion, about $47,000 for every U.S. resident. This debt is a cancer, Boyle said in a sober presentation, nonetheless lightened by humorous asides between him and Simpson. It is truly going to destroy the country from within. And this is what I've been trying to get you to pay attention for a long time. As a matter of fact, 14 million or trillion in debt. There is no way America's ever going to pay that off. They can't even pay off the interest of that debt right now. That's how bad the situation is. It goes on to say the rest of the federal government, including fighting 2 wars, homeland security, education, art, culture, you name it, veterans, the whole rest of the discretionary budget is being financed by China and other countries, said Simpson. China alone currently holds $920 billion in U.S. IOUs. Now, recently I've put up posts that shows you that China's been buying up all the gold that they can possibly get their hands on. China knows that they're going to release these IOUs. In other words, they're not going to hold up America anymore. And when America isn't held up or somebody's not paying for these debts, America is going to collapse. And the rest of the nations know this, and they're looking for this new kind of system with a new reserve currency. You see it plastered all over my book. Chapter 1, I have all the documents that you will ever need to show you that the process of which the Antichrist is going to be able to control what you buy or sell is step by step, incrementally taking place. And America, when they go down, it's going to be a ripple effect, as I said before. The rest of the countries are going to be hit with this. There's going to be a major global major economic crisis that's going to cause much chaos, civil unrest, all of which Jesus told us to look for. Now, let me also go down. When you scroll, you're going to see this. I'm going to quote. It says, when a global economy collapses, this is what I write, it will give the Antichrist, obviously, the power to rise up and to take hold of the collapsing system, or the system that collapsed. And the debt crisis is helping bring this about. This is out of Frankfurt. The sovereign debt crisis would seem to create worry even for the European banks, but there is another gathering threat that has not garnered as much notice. The trillions of dollars in short-term borrowing that institutions around the world must repay or roll over in the next 2 years. The European Central Bank, the Bank of England, and the International Monetary Fund have all recently warned of looming crunch, especially in Europe, where banks have enough trouble raising money as it is. It's not just America. It's happening throughout the world in banks, and I'm going to cover this in part 2. So scroll down to the next video. Thank you.